All right, welcome everybody. Welcome. So, I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to hop on in. Wanted to make sure I got a live done today. I was going to do it a little bit later, but here in Houston, we have pretty bad weather. Tornado warnings, flood warnings, so might lose power. But before then, wanted to get this information out to you guys today. Last couple videos, we were talking about products. Today, we're going to talk about the economy, okay? I do a ton of reading, and one of the articles I came across yesterday struck me, and I just needed to go over that with more people. I didn't hear enough people talk about it. So we'll give everybody a few minutes to hop on in. Maybe we'll get some more people. This is, I think, very, very important information. All right. So let's see. So like I was saying, today we're going to be talking about state of the economy, what's going on. And again, we're going to be talking primarily about this one article, and I'll actually read that to you all. That way you understand what it says, and then we're going to break it down of what it really means for us. All right. So the article primarily was speaking on Janet Yellen. So for those of you who don't know who Janet Yellen is, she is the United States Secretary of the Treasury. Okay? Sounds fancy. It's a fancy title. What does that really do? So what they do is she's the one who's responsible for formulating and recommending domestic and international financial, economic, and tax policy. So she's participating in the formulation of broad fiscal policies that have general significance for the economy, managing public debt. Very fancy description. Basically, she's like the queen of finance here in America. So if you guys aren't following Janet Yellen, you need to be following her. She was really talking about how we're going to manage the public debt in this article, okay, that we're going to be reading in just a few moments. Thank you all for joining in. Again, we're going to be talking about the state of the economy in this video. It's a little bit different than some of the other videos I've done. And we're going to be reading together a article from the Wall Street Journal. All right. And I was just going over who Janet Yellen is. All right. So let's go ahead. Let me open up the article. 1 second, guys. All right. I'm going to read the article. You guys can always come back and reference this video. All right. So this was actually posted January 20th. So it's only a few days old. Now we'll go through it piece by piece together. So Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said Friday that the U.S. wouldn't be able to prevent a default if the federal government breached its debt ceiling, and cautioned that Treasury systems weren't designed to give priority to payments to bondholders after the borrowing limit is exceeded. Okay? So paragraph 1, what's that saying? It's basically saying that America is in debt, which honestly is kind of no surprise. I mean, who's really surprised about that? We all know that America's been in debt for many generations now. But it's gotten so bad, they believe that we're no longer going to be able to make our payments anymore. So an easy way to understand this is like America has a credit card and they're maxed out. They're almost maxed out. Okay? Say your credit card payment's $1,000 a month. They only have 100 to pay. You do that enough times, you're going to default on your loan. And that's kind of where America is right now, okay? So let's go back to the article. Ms. Yellen was speaking at the Senegalese presidential palace, where she was meeting with the Senegalese president, Macky Sall, during a 3-country tour through Africa. Said that missing a payment on any of the federal government's obligations would constitute a default. A failure on the part of the United States to meet any obligations, whether it's to debt holders, members of our military, or to Social Security recipients, is effectively a default. So let's take a pause, okay? So I don't know if you guys heard really what she was saying, but it's saying that the current structure, the way America is right now, doesn't give priority to, it said, the bondholders, to the military, and to the Social Security recipients. Okay, so that's a lot of people that it's going to affect. So let's just start with the bondholders, okay? Now, it kind of bothered me that bondholders are going to get affected, because if you're a savvy investor, you probably saw a lot of the warning signs about the stock market going to crash. So usually what happens, the relationship between stocks and bonds, when stocks go up, bonds go down. When stocks go down, bonds go up. So a lot of people were basically investing into these bonds, and there were some pretty sexy bonds last year, like an I bond that was given about 7% a year. But it's saying that if we're no longer able to go ahead and make our obligations, and we default on our loans because we are just in too much debt as a country, they're not guaranteeing that they will pay out to the bondholders. So that frustrates me, because the American person, tried to do their best of diversifying their money. They did everything that they could to go ahead and put it somewhere that they thought was safe. But instead, they're not going to be able to be in a position where they can actually take advantage of any sort of upside. So that's really frustrating for me. It also talks about our Social Security recipients and our military. So I'm going to touch on the military just for a second. I mean, do I really need to mention how scary that is? I think a lot of people have been seeing the international relations and who likes America and who doesn't. So if we're not funding our military, you know, you can use your imagination yourself with that one. All right. And then it talks about the Social Security recipients. So most of these people are people who have already retired who receive their Social Security. And a lot of the people that I've helped, whether it's in the industry I'm in now or mortgages before, Social Security is a big part of their retirement plan. And if this current structure of the economy doesn't prioritize paying the Social Security recipients, what's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to their quality of life? It really is going to affect, like I said, a lot of different people in different spaces. But sometimes that's a huge part of their retirement plan. And if that's gone, I just wanted you guys to know about it, because this is happening like right now. All right, so let's keep reading. Let's go back to the article. All right. So the Treasury began deploying a so-called extraordinary measures on Thursday to allow the U.S. to keep paying its bills after it ran up against the roughly $31.4 trillion debt limit, giving the federal government until at least early June before it faces default. Early June, guys. It's almost the end of January. All right, so it's just a couple of months before we really hit this crisis, before we have to come up with a solution. All right. So Miss Yellen told lawmakers those moves formally kicked off a battle in Congress. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Congress right now. They're trying to raise the borrowing limit, which the House Republicans said they won't do unless the Democrats also agree to federal spending. Democrats have rejected negotiating around raising the debt limit. So if I could be real with you guys for a second, it really doesn't matter to me what side you're on, Democrat, Republican, because if we really go back, how many good presidents have we had? You know, we can arguably say none, especially when it comes to finances. You know, who has actually helped us structurally to incorporate better finances, better financial literacy for adults and children, and have a healthy and stable economy? Yes, we've had great bull runs, but has it ever been stable? Every time I ask this question, do you think there's going to be another economic downturn? Everybody says yes. It's a cycle that we go through. So have we ever really had a stable economy for longer than, let's say, 15 years? No. I'll wait. So again, this Democrat-Republican thing is really just a way for us to be divided. But I'm going to digress. Just wanted to let you guys know what's going on. So let's go back and keep reading. All right. President Biden and the House Speaker Kevin McCarthy were expected to soon meet. Mr. McCarthy tweeted that he accepted the president's invitation to sit down and discuss a possible debt ceiling increase to address irresponsible government spending. So what they're trying to do is, instead of going into default or actually finding a way to fix their problem, they're just trying to get a credit increase on that credit card we were talking about, which if we don't change our habits, it's ultimately going to make the situation worse later down the line once we hit that debt ceiling again. All right. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said a meeting with Mr. McCarthy has not yet been scheduled. She also said that Mr. Biden looks forward to meeting with Mr. McCarthy to discuss a range of issues, as a part of a series of meeting with all new congressional leaders to start the year. She reiterated that raising the debt ceiling is not a negotiation. It is an obligation of this country and its leaders to avoid economic chaos. So this is what the press of the government said. She said, raising the debt ceiling is not a negotiation. It is an obligation of this country and its leaders to avoid economic chaos. So a lot of people have been hearing how we're in a recession. We were already in a recession. We're going to hit a recession. I just posted something on my page saying 62% of people believe we will hit a recession this year. So this is sort of why America is in a very bad situation, and we have a very short time period to fix it. And the only immediate thing that they can figure out is increasing this debt limit. That way they can continue making these payments to everybody that they're supposed to. All right. Because if they're not able to, again, we've already shown how it can impact so many different people. And if we're in an economic chaos, let's just think, we didn't even talk about all the millions of people invested in the market. So let's think about it. Personally, if you ever had to go through a situation where you defaulted on a loan, why did you normally default? Because of your personal economy was not in good standing, right? If you default on your mortgage or your car loan, had to get that repossessed, it's because you normally didn't have the funds to go ahead and take care of everything. Your personal economy was messed up. So if we're not able as a country to stay on top of our payments, what do you think is going to happen to our economy? And what's a great indication of our economy historically? The stock market. So what do you think is going to happen to the stock market? What's going to happen to all those people invested there? Another way this is going to affect a lot of people. Okay, so just a few more paragraphs here, and we'll wrap this up. So some of the Republicans have raised the possibility that the U.S. could give priority to interest payments to investors holding U.S. debt if the government can no longer pay all of its bills. Default on U.S. debt could have widespread financial and economic consequences if investors flee treasuries, a global safe haven asset. Ms. Yellen said Friday that the Treasury's payment systems may not be able to give priority to certain payments over others. Again, it's not going to be able to prioritize paying the military, the bondholders, the Social Security recipients if they aren't able to even make payments on their bills. They're going to take that money that they were supposed to be giving to everybody else to pay their bills first. The current structure doesn't allow other people, the U.S. people, to get what they were promised. Okay? That's what that's saying. Then it goes on to say, I would also say that Treasury systems have been built to pay all of our bills when they're due on time and not prioritize one form of spending over another. Exactly what we just said. Treasury officials have long said that the government's payment systems would make prioritization infeasible. Still, in August 2011, Federal Reserve and Treasury officials privately formalized a plan to make on-time payments on Treasury debt and delay paying other government bills if no deal was reached on debt ceiling, according to transcripts of a Fed meeting that were released later. So, again, this is basically showing how much debt America's in, how bad the situation has gotten, because I think pretty much the entire public knows that we're in debt. We've been in debt, like I said. But we hit our debt limit. They were able to extend this until June. And if the House and the Congress do not come to an agreement, a lot of people are going to get affected. A lot of people. We already went over a couple of it. So why did I decide to share this? Not only do I think it's important, not only do I think a lot of people will be impacted, but I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to inform you of what we're going through as a country together, all of us. And this is something that I think you need to be aware of, because if you're not, you're going to just allow these things to happen. You need to start taking control of your situation, your finances, your life. A couple of my previous videos, I was describing how you can create some certainty in this situation. You know, instead of relying on the government to continue paying for your Social Security, I spoke about a product that you can put in place that's privately owned, that the government cannot touch, cannot sue. It's protected from creditors and predators, and you will continue on getting a payment for the rest of your life. That same strategy will actually pay you until you take your last breath. That strategy will go ahead and it's a strategy where you can run out of money and never run out of income. We discussed that. We discussed how you can do that. We discussed even, what do you think this means for taxes if we're running out of money? How are they going to make up the difference? Who do you think is going to pay that difference? So we talked about how you can go ahead and prevent yourself from these tax hikes. These are tax codes that were written specifically for these products. These are things that you can implement now. These things are strategies where you can have only positive growth and never get affected negatively. I can show you these strategies. These are strategies that the 1%ers have been using. And in a time like this, they're just going like this. They're excited because of all the uncertainty, all the volatility. When the things go down, they're in a position to buy in and then get the massive rewards. They are in a position of knowing what they are able to do. Because if you're in retirement right now, this is a scary, or about to retire in the next couple of years, this is a scary place to be in. Not knowing what's going to happen to your, Social Security. Not going to know what's happened to your 401k or IRA if you're invested heavily into the market, or even if you're in bonds, if you're not going to get paid out on your bonds anymore. It's scary. So again, what are you going to do? Do you want to participate in this next recession or any future recession? And if your answer is no, you don't have to. But I need to ask you, what are you going to do about it? Do you have anybody in your corner to show you these strategies? And if you don't, just believe me, that's fine. I have almost a decade of experience in the financial industry, but I have two really, really good mentors. One going on 15 years of experience. The other one has 37 years of both Wall Street and insurance experience. So I have a wealth of knowledge right at my disposal. If I don't already know the answer, I can easily access it. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. What are you guys going to do? Do you have anybody that you can trust? Because it's nothing. I cost nothing to talk to. Just have a consultation. We can talk about if you have proper structures put in place. If you want, I know everybody knows where they want to go, but how do they get there? That's where the uncertainty comes in. So I just wanted to share this all with you because you do not have to participate in this next recession. You do not have to worry about what the government's going through. If you put your money in a private account, if you put your money inside of one of these other contracts outside of what the government can touch, you know that saying, the untouchables? You can put your money in one of these untouchable accounts. It's accessible to you. You don't have to be wealthy. But this is a way to achieve wealth. So, again, I just thought this was extremely important that people needed to know about. Janet Yellen, the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, was talking about our debt being capped out. And we need to come up with a solution by early June is what she said. It's already the end of January. So, again, you guys still have a little bit of time to start transferring some of your wealth into these safe havens that have been proven since America has been established over hundreds of years. Survived recessions. It survived depressions. It survived world wars. It survived different world leaders. So, again, if you don't have to take my word, we can go ahead and just discuss, do your own research. That's what I'm here for. I'm just another resource for you guys to have access to this information. There's so much information being pushed out. There's so much false narratives on financial social media. I'm just doing my best to go ahead and give you the truth of what was posted on Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal. So go ahead, look it up. Like I said, it was posted on the 20th. Very good article. But again, if you guys found any of this information useful, please put a comment, like, and please share it. I want everybody to at least be exposed to the information. If you would like to talk about possibly putting together a strategy, or if you just want somebody to review the strategy that you have for yourself, we can discuss that together as well to make sure that it's properly set up to get you to your goals. That's fine. Send me a DM. we can do a consultation. Like I said, the consultation is absolutely free. And until next time, where I post another video, I just want to let you guys know I love you all. And remember, let's grow together.